guys, it's Salima with Salim Moon Goddess Tarot here with another pickle card reading. Hopefully everybody is doing well. I am hanging in there. I think everybody in the US is hanging in there. I think I can safely say that, which kind of made me think about the topic of today's reading. I'm going to be doing a reading, 3 piles. It's going to be about what is blocking you, or why are you self-sabotaging? Right now, with everything that's going on, politically, socially, just the fuckery, let's just say it's fuckery, all right? Um, I think it's a good time to try to take moments to focus on yourself. That's healing, and sometimes when we kind of saturate ourselves with social media and everything that's going on, we can neglect ourselves. And in order to withstand what is happening and sustain ourselves and endure what's going on, it's important that we, take moments to reflect on ourselves, reflect on how we can grow. Because the more freedom we give ourselves and the more we heal, the stronger we're going to be for each other, I think, is kind of where I'm coming from. So, that being said, I've got 3 piles, like I said. I have 3. This is a new deck. It's called Tarot of Ruins. So it has like kind of like a old rusty nautical type theme to it. Shipwreckage, I think, is a good way to put it. The Uncommon Tarot, which is, we'll see, the artwork is kind of montages on the cards, and then montages of art on the card, and then the Golden Masquerade Tarot, which I used last reading. Then I'm going to be pulling some oracle cards just for humor and insight from this deck, the Dead Inside deck. And I might pull, I have a bunch of other oracle decks here, so in fact, maybe I'll use this one. This one is called the Self-Love Oracle. I think that would be fitting. All right? Okay, so I will see you at your reading. Usually, if this is your first time here, by the way, want to let you know that I usually put the timestamps inside the description box. I encourage you to use it because I tend to not pause my video. So if you just want to go straight to your reading, you could just hit your stamps, your timestamps, and you don't have to listen to me move things around and shuffle the cards and all of that. Also, just a little note, I am open for personal readings. I forgot last time, but I'll make sure to put my email address in the description box as well if you're interested in a personal reading. I can do, really with tarot, it's pretty much any topic, so it can be worked out. So email me if you're interested in that, and I will see you at your reading. All right, pile 1. You picked the Tarot of the Ruins deck. This is a pretty cool deck. I like it. It was not that expensive. I found it on Amazon. I probably should make a wish list of tarot decks public so you guys can see either all the decks that I have. That would actually be really cool. And then you guys could use that to shop for tarot decks if you're interested. Hopefully I remember to do that. My memory is not that great, guys. I do the best I can with what I got, right? All right, so let's do this. So we're talking about blockages, self-sabotage. Let's see what's holding you back, okay? This is a really cool deck. It makes me laugh. It's really keeps it real. So let's see what comes out for you. What is holding pile 1 back? What is their self-sabotage? What's happening with pile 1? What is going on with pile 1? Let's see. Let's do 1 or 2 more. Perfect. We've got 3 to talk about, y'all. All right. The first one that came out is, see if you can see it. Pretending to like people. masking, people pleasing, and exhaustion. That is a hard cycle to break, I have to say. I have found myself in that situation many, many, many times. The second one I think was this one, crying over situationships. It's complicated. Message was seen, like the person saw the message but didn't reply 2 days ago. And it says emotional investment and rejection. Ew, that sucks. And then the last one is replaying the breakup, mental loops, guilt, and analyzing. Anyway, all right. I'm not going to try, but we know what that's talking about, right? All right. So these are our situations. All right, pile one. You've got a lot going on. All of this happening is a lot. That's a lot on your plate. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right. So first of all, I want to let you know ahead of time that you are an amazing human being, and that even though you've got these things going on, a lot of sword energy, I feel, a lot of stressing and worrying, a lot of mental anguish, along with emotional anguish that you have a hard time processing. So, you know, you're not the only one. We all have elements of this going on in our life. We all do. So you're not alone, okay? And there's always a way out of it. There's always a way out of it. Perspective is everything. So let's take a look and see what the tarot says, all right? All right, for pile one, right out the bat. Yeah, 10 of Wands. I said burdens, burdensome, lots of burdens. You're carrying a lot. Tell us more about what's going on with pile one. Why the self-sabotage for pile one? All right. Oop. Ah. All right. Was that driving you nuts? Some people are really OCD about this. Like when they look at, because you just sit here and stare at what's in front of me, and I'm busy doing the cards, and you're probably like, that's crooked. Can you please fix it? That's sort of okay. All right. So you've got the Six of Swords, that sword energy I was talking about, the Page of Pentacles, the Six of Wands, and the Three of Wands. Give me a minute here. So first of all, I'm going to mention that 3 is a very important number for you, because we have the Three of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Six of Swords, the 10 of Wands, actually 2. I think 10 reduces to 2. I might be wrong. I'm not really a mathematician, but keep in mind, you know, that we have repetitive numbers here. So 663, you might want to look up that, 663, you might want to look up that angel number. You could just go on Google and it'll tell you what your angel number says, all right? To me, it feels like you feel like what's holding you back. I mean, the 10 of Wands actually is like carrying, usually it's depicted with carrying, huge bags up a hill, and like you can almost see the end of the road where you're headed, but it is just an arduous journey, all right? So it feels like you're like, walking through, in knee-high mud through your life right now, feeling like you really just want to leave. You want to escape. You might be escaping in social media. You might be escaping into this situationship, diving into work, pretending to mask, like this card was mentioning, to the point of exhaustion. So if you're working, overworking, workaholic, that might be something that you're using to cope. The Six of Swords is usually a family in a boat. But what you would notice, and for me, that's always been profound with this card, or that sticks out to me, is the swords that are inside the boat with the person. So it's not like you are letting go of these anxieties. They are kind of with you, but the the drive to just escape is very high. And with the Page of Pentacles, I feel like deep down inside you wish you could get some help, that somebody could reach out and help you. But that's the problem. I think this is the weakness, is the communication um, isn't there. The desire to have help, ask for help is difficult for you, especially if you have a lot of responsibilities. Maybe you have a job that has you constantly busy, responsible for a lot of things, where you appear as though you're somebody that doesn't need help. You appear as though everything's great, right? Like this pretending that you got going on. The Six of Wands, I think you obviously desire to move out of this energy. So that's good, because there's some people who are, going to be looking at this reading and their piles and like feel like that they're surprised about what's hanging them up, and not feel like they need to change it, or not even know where to begin because they never realized that about themselves. I think that you're a bit further along. I think that you realize these things already about yourself, that's the first place to start. And you want success. You want to be able to succeed. You want to be able to show other people that you are growing and overcoming things, not because you care about what they say or how they view you, but there might be people in your life that know that you're going through these things, and you want to show them that, just as you can be very, strong and have a lot of responsibilities and all these things in your professional life or your personal life with friends and things like that. I think in matters of the heart and in matters of healing and growing, you also want to grow and be able to heal and move forward in that arena. And a lot of people don't look at themselves as a whole. We kind of walk through life looking forward, right? We don't look at ourselves very often, and if we do, we don't like what we see, and we can try to definitely not do that often. So I think for you it's different. I think you do have the introspection and the knowledge that you want to have success with these issues. And then the Three of Wands, maybe you've already started planning to move forward from these things. Even trying to manifest or daydream. Maybe you daydream about what it would be like to not have to be stuck in these situations. So I'm going to see, I think what I want to do is let's pull a little bit of cards, a card or two for each of these categories, and see how you can improve these situations that you got going on. So let's do crying over a situationship. So, when we talk about like what I mentioned at the beginning, how tough things have been with everything going on in America right now, getting in situationships, I think actually ever since COVID, situationships became a thing, right? When people couldn't leave their house. And now it seems like with how expensive everything is, health insurance, all of that, like really work and home is what a lot of people are doing. And having time for a social life or relationships is kind of out of the question, or difficult to do. So you might be in a connection with somebody else and that connection is fizzling out and you have a situationship on the side, or you are single and you have a person that you're talking to that things are not very clear. Communication is not clear. There could be a runner-chaser dynamic where you have one person that is stonewalling and not communicating, like it has here, like not looking at the messages, and somebody completely anxious over it and having anxiety that this person might not really be into you or doesn't have feelings for you. So what advice do you have for the situationship for pile one? Spirit. Ooh, that came out fast. Oh, nice. Okay. The Three of Cups. All right, so the Three of Cups is a beautiful card. It talks about celebration, family, relationships, connection. Cups have to do with water, emotions, finding people who have common interests that you have is going to help you in this particular situation. I'm not sure if you're the one that is like putting your hand up and not wanting this situationship with a person, if that's the case, this is telling you that you need to make an effort to communicate. If this person is on your mind and you can't let them go and you can't stop thinking about them, that is your heart and your mind telling you this is an important connection that you should have. All right. This might be somebody that's part of your tribe, right? Uh, if this is somebody that, I think because this card came out, it's significant for you. So I'm gonna just say that I think most of you that are watching this, you are emotionally and mentally invested in this situationship. But if you are the one that's not communicating, this Three of Cups is saying that it's time to trust. Trust, when you think about getting together with people that you're familiar with, you look forward to seeing those people. You look forward to seeing getting together and having a good time together. You don't have the anxiety that you might have if you're going to go meet people you don't know. I think that this is a reminder that this person is in your life for a reason, and ignoring that is a detriment to your own growth in that way. Okay. Um, it's kind of intense to say that. Some of you out there might be thinking, well, what if that person's just not meant for me? And that's why I'm feeling all this anxiety. On the contrary, if you did not have feelings as well, this person would not be on your mind and this card would not have come out. So this isn't a significant person in your life. And I think the question that's going to help you get to this point of trusting is asking yourself, what are you afraid of? One of the things here says rejection, emotional investment, and rejection. Some people are very afraid of investing. And part of, I think, the fear of investing in a relationship is that they don't, because you're so used to just not even trying or pulling back, you don't ever get to, what you lose in doing that is that you don't get to see what the cost even is. It might be something that's totally reasonable for you and that fits you and your life. It's kind of like, always driving by that house that you wish that you could buy, but you never go see if it's for sale and you never go see how much it is. But you sit there pining after this house for your whole life and just miss that opportunity of having a home that you really are in love with. It's kind of the same idea. When you build emotional walls up, you really stunt your emotional growth and hold yourself back from happiness. And, I've said it many times in my readings is that happiness is a birthright. We all deserve happiness. And right now, the way the social constructs are, it's not conducive to happiness. It's conducive to, working until we can get to retirement and hope that we can survive on retirement, pretty much. It is dismal and discouraging and depressing in some regards. I think even if you're somebody that is, investing and trying to get ahead, it feels like you are running on a treadmill because of the economy and things like that. So, I don't know that's for somebody. I don't know why I went on that tangent about the economy, but going back to the house situation and happiness, there you go. So anyway, going back to just, asking yourself, why do you have fear? If it's fear over emotional investment, then you got to think about, like I said, it might be, this person might be exactly like fit you perfect. If you're somebody that doesn't give a lot, maybe they don't have a lot to give. Maybe they just want you present in their existence, in their journey, to meet up a couple of times a year, or four times a year, or just by email, long distance, pen pal. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not what you think it is. And a lot of times when it comes to perspective, our brains are wired, scientifically wired to warn us of danger. And the only downfall to that is that it's great, but it warns us based on the experiences that we believe we've had. So if you've had bad experiences of getting invested, let's say you did start a relationship with someone and you took that chance, and it turned out that they were an emotional energy vampire, and you got stuck in that. I could see why you would never want to give again. You're like, fuck that. I'm never fucking doing this again. This is a fucking nightmare. This person does not leave me alone, does not stop bugging that I am not doing this, or I'm not doing that, or I'm not showing this, or I'm not, we've all had a moment in our life where we have some sort of person like that in our life that is just sucks the life out of you. Not every relationship is like that. And if this relationship is coming from the universe, like this is something that has been brought into your life for a reason, I think you should really question your experience, and question whether this is going to be the same experience most of the time, and 9 times out of 10 it's not. It's going to be something here that is going to help you through it. Now, as far like whether you guys complement each other, you guys might be opposites attract. You might, this person might be a great communicator and you're not, and that's something you want to grow in. You guys might be able to work together. You guys might be able to start a business together. There might be all kinds of reasons why this person is in your life. But maybe what's confusing you is that you've fallen in love with them too. And our idea of falling in love with someone, questions about monogamy and expectations come in there and complicate things. And I feel like it's much more simple than what you're making it out to be. I don't think that it is. I think this person has a lot of love for you, and sometimes because of the way we grew up and the way our parents treated us, we don't feel comfortable accepting love because of fear because when we grew up, our parents had, love had, there was expectations that came with it. Like in order for you to feel loved from your parents, you had to have good grades, or you had to make sure that you did things for your parents, or, all kinds of different scenarios you can think of. But okay, so just keep that in mind when we're talking about the Three of Cups. So what other advice does the universe have here for this card or the next, please, Spirit? Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Seven of Pentacles. All right. So I think that this is going to be speaking to the pretending, to like people, masking, pleasing, people pleasing, and exhaustion. We have the Seven of Pentacles. Actually, this is a good card even for the other subject. So the Seven of Pentacles, Pentacles is earth energy. And, the Seven of Pentacles, usually, like you see this person, it seems as though they're trying to get up this wall by using this root, okay, this tree. But usually it's somebody working hard on something. They're sitting on a bench and they're just banging out these coins and get the next coin and put the design on that coin. And they're just going, head down, focused on work. This is working towards something that is grounded, all right? This matches this energy with both of these situations. In both of these situations, you're really just focusing on how you're being viewed by somebody. The loved one is very tender because it has to do with your heart, because you have feelings in return. This one has to do with you feeling that it's not okay to be not okay. Feeling like you have to put on a good face because of some kind of consequence to either saying no to people or admitting that you're just feeling tired and you're not feeling good, or you're just not happy. Our society doesn't allow us to be honest and authentic, to be our most authentic self. We are a lot of, like personally, I work in the medical field, and there's a lot being demanded of us in the medical field because of how healthcare is in the United States. And when you work in high demanding jobs, or you have a demanding family life, or you have a large family, or you have, in-laws that live with you, you have people that, you care about how they perceive you, it is the most difficult place to be authentic in those situations. And I think the encouragement from the universe is to take it step by step by step. All right. When you, so for example, take it by situation. Let's say this people pleasing situation with work. Sometimes it can be the smallest thing that gives you freedom. Like for me, sometimes if somebody says, "Hey, how are you doing?" and I'm really not feeling it, I will say, "I've had better days." Most of the time, because this is such a weird, because people don't expect someone to say that. Oh, they'll say, "I'm sorry," okay, and then move on. Uh, but and deep inside I'm like, oh my gosh, they didn't even, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't need to be afraid to say I'm just not feeling good today, or I'm not having a good day, I've had better days. Just those little things, those little steps that you can take to sit in that grounded energy of being who you are, I think is going to help you move forward when it comes to pretending that, you know you like people, or that you know you're not being your most authentic self. um, I think the part about, pretending that you like people, for me, there are people that I have that I do not choose, that I don't favor. Let's just say that. I don't want to hang out with them. They're not somebody that's probably going to be a part of my friend group. I have a very small circle. Um, that's also something that you could work on too. I highly encourage people to get a small circle of people that are on the same journey that you are on, going back to the Three of Cups, right? Finding your tribe family. If this person in the situationship is in that category, reach out, because there's something there to be learned. There's something there to enjoy and grow with. That is going to help you through this. When I don't like someone, I've kind of created standards in my mind that help me to be authentic with that. So like if I'm friendly with someone, then I'm just friendly with them. I don't give them my phone number. I don't text them. I don't hope that they give me attention when I see them. I just let them be. I don't try to engage, because I that is how I honestly feel about that person in that situation. Versus someone I do care about, where I will reach out and I make it a point to reach out, so that there is differences in who is in my circle and who is not in my circle. And that's one way for me that I keep myself authentic when it comes to masking, pretending that you like people, the people pleasing also, feeling like, it's okay to say no. The Seven of Pentacles is definitely a type of no card, depending on the cards that come around it, where it's like, nope, this person is not engaging with anybody else other than their work. They're working and they're focused. Um, I think the universe is asking you to focus on yourself, right? Don't focus on what other people are doing. That's not very important. That's not going to bring you happiness, and that's not going to pull you out of this slump that you're in. All right? Let's get some cards on. I want to hear a little bit about this replaying the breakup, because this love situation. So let's get some advice about that for pile one. Replaying the breakup. Eight of Pentacles. Interesting. Again, the energy of moving forward. The Eight of Pentacles is usually like the work is done. Like if you can think of like a baker, the cake is done. It's decorated. It's sitting on the counter. You just have to deliver it. It's that energy of the planning and the taking the steps forward. So I'm feeling more so a lot more people that are watching this reading are the ones that aren't communicating, or they're the ones that are holding back. Um, if the way that you feel with your social life, it seems like you really put yourself in a bubble of being inauthentic and not really, you actually are somebody that is a loving, caring, kind person, that you do want deep connections with people. Because if you didn't, first of all, you wouldn't be on this reading. And second of all, you wouldn't have the guilt. You wouldn't be having the over analyzing. You wouldn't be thinking, I wonder, makes me wonder if this person put the brakes on stuff. Like you didn't reply and they're like, I can't I can't continue to put myself out there to be continually rejected by no communication. And that could be triggering for you, right? Like it could be triggering because of the energy vampires that you've had in your life that demand so much from you. You're like, I don't want to give. I'm tired, but yet you're sabotaging yourself by continuing to not give, if that makes sense. It's about who you give it to. It's about where you put your money. Where are you putting your investment and in your time? Putting investment into yourself and connections that matter, connections that will help you heal and grow. That's where that, that give and take that's equal and satisfying, that's where that comes from. When you have energy vampires in your life, that's they're you're just going to be exhausted. All right, so let's get more advice, please, Spirit. Ten of Pentacles. Oh my God, here we go. So it's like all of this is kind of, the universe is like drilling it literally into your head that you need to reach out. But you notice that like there's other cards, or other cards in tarot anyway, that have more people in it. But the Three of Cups just has the three people. So keeping your circle small and deciding to invest and open up to people that you care about and leaving the rest to the side is how you're going to be able to stop sabotaging yourself in this situation. And then do it again. 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 And it's going to lead you to the Ten of Pentacles, which is about, let's see if you can, it's about feeling completely like everything that you have always wanted to feel about, not just feel, but, well, when it comes to being grounded, you're going to feel your most authentic self. You're going to feel like you're going to realize a lot of things that you went without for the sake of not being honest or not being upfront, not being who you really are, not sharing your feelings to this person or sharing your thoughts, like, and being reasonable and kind to yourself. Say, like when you communicate, for example, to this person, because you're replaying the breakup. So I'm thinking that they stopped communicating with you. You're pretending that everything's fine. What if you just reached out to this person and said, listen, first of all, I care about you big time, or whatever. If this person has said the L word to you and you feel the same way, just whatever you feel, be honest with it and just say it. Even if it's cringy, it doesn't matter. Because bet money this person, they're waiting for that, right? Because obviously you've given them some kind of hint somehow that you have some interest, because this situationship wouldn't have started in the first place. And then say, what scares you? You're going to feel so much better. You can do both. You can say, I really care about you and I want this connection. I'm scared to get hurt. Or I don't know how this is going to work. Or I don't know why we're in each other's lives, but I can't forget you. It does, even if it's a letter that you write or a text message or something, you'd be surprised how much grace is out there for you. And you're very, very hard on yourself. You put high expectations on yourself, and you've got to try to start looking at yourself like you would someone else. For me, I do that sometimes. I'm like, if somebody came to me and said, I've got this problem and I'm in love with this person, but I keep sabotaging myself and not communicating, and now they don't want to talk to me. Would I say, oh, you're a fucking idiot, duh, you ding dong, look what you fucking did? Would I say something like that? No, I would not. I would not dare tell someone that I care about that as advice. So why do we do that to ourselves? Like, I'm super hard on myself, and I always have to like check myself and be like, wait, Salima, would you really say that to somebody else? No. Okay, so be kind. Be kind. I would say to someone, I'm so sorry you're going through this, but you know what? There's always a way to figure things out. Let's see what we can do. What if, and then plan. What if we did this, or what if you did that? You know, like how you would with anybody that is a friend of yours, right? So why do we treat ourselves so much more harshly than we would treat other people in our life? So that is really what's holding you back there. And the universe is just like, if you take these calculated steps that you don't stop, have the initial conversation of love, and then pretend that you're planting seeds, right? Like you're a farmer, right? Sometimes for me metaphors help me, right? But like you plant a seed, put the dirt over it, send that one text message. The more that you get to know each other, the more this person's going to be able to be understanding. Like if you block them out, how are they going to know that you have fears around communicating or around giving? Like if they knew that you had fears, and they'd be understanding and kind. If they truly are, and it seems as though with the Three of Cups, this person is meant to be in your life for a reason, big reason. And I'm sure that you're helping this person grow too, because if they've walked away, it's because they have to protect their energy too. Okay, so let's get one more card just to be even Steven here, and then we'll get a self-love oracle. Oop. Oh, that one fell out. Hold on one second. Oh, that's amazing. Dude. Maybe there's a bunch of guys here watching this. You got the Queen of Pentacles. Like, we're finishing up with Pentacles. This is your person. Grounded, solid, kind, creative, intuitive, fertile when it comes to and I'm not talking about like making babies, though it's a possibility depending on what stage you are in your life. But this is about creation. This person might be a counterpart to you. And that's after the Ten of Pentacles. So this is the path. This is the way to get out of it. Taking baby steps to be authentic, sending that one text message or that letter that you wrote or that poem or whatever. Okay? When it's the people pleasing, deciding to say no sometimes, deciding to be like, I'm choosing me today, not feeling guilty because you need to take a nap, right? What the fuck is that about? Like that all has to do with like, I know my Latino folks out there, we could relate to that shit. Like, we couldn't be at rest because if our parents saw us at rest, it'd be like, well, why are you sitting there lazy? Get up and do something if you're going to be here in the house, kind of thing. So then when we're adults, we feel guilty because we're taking time out to rest when we need that rest. And choosing who is going to be your tribe, who's going to be your soul tribe, who's going to be those people that you call when you feel sad, or that you meet up for a beer just to decompress, and deciding out of the people in your life who's going to be that, your circle of trust, right? The small circle of people that you can cry to or that you could talk to. And I think that this person, this romantic situation, is definitely one of those people. So let's go ahead and get a self-love oracle card for you. This is kind of going to be like homework, I think. So we'll see. Pile 1. What self-love act does pile 1 need in order to get past these situations? Whoop. One card, please, for pile 1. One card for pile 1. Oh my God, that's crazy. I love when everything is synchronistic. Like the universe is like, this is the cohesive message and everything is matching here. So your card that you got is, can you see it? It says ritual, self-devotion, third eye chakra. If you're unfamiliar with chakras, I want to say that the teachings come from East India, I believe. But basically, they're energy centers that go down your body from the top of your head all the way down to your tailbone. And the third eye is right here between where your eyebrow, a little bit above where your eyebrows would be. And so the third eye is the area where meditation happens where we tap into your intuition. If you don't meditate, I think trying to meditate or learning about it might help you. I've done different things for meditation. I do whatever kind of feels good. Sometimes I'll come here in my tarot room and do tarot for myself, or listen to some meditation music and do some deep breathing. Sometimes I do self-talk where I have a mirror and I talk to myself in a mirror, believe it or not. And it actually really does help me. It really, really does. But let's see what the advice is here. Card 24. This card suggests that you have been asking more of yourself. You have wanted to rise above your fears and bad habits to serve others as your heart is asking. You can indeed be a gift to everyone you meet, and you can give hope and an image of grace and inspiration and elevation. To do this requires self-devotional practices that ensure you know how to command your mind so that you do not pollute your projection with any negative thoughts or words. When you care deeply enough about yourself to take full responsibility for living your life to the fullest, you are ready to commit to self-enrichment and gratitude for your true self-practice. The commitment will create inner trust and build resilience to disease, disharmony with your 10 bodies. So they're talking about the chakras there. So basically the message is saying when you take care of yourself, right? And part of that is these practical things that we talked about. That's where you build that strength and resilience in order to then cope, to be even further authentic. And through your authenticity, you're going to be helping other people and bringing hope for other people, being an example of light for other people. So I'm going to leave that there for you, Pile 1. And I thank you so much for coming by. If this is your first time, please subscribe and hit the like button. If you have any suggestions for any further readings, please put it in the comments. And I will see you next time. Bye. That was so cool. Pile 2, here we go. You chose the Uncommon Tarot. This is really beautiful art, I have to say. It's one of my favorite decks that I have. All right. Now, what I did for the first one, I didn't really have a plan, really. But what I did for the first pile is we picked some of these dead inside cards to see what is your hang up. And then we got kind of what the situation is, and then we got a row on advice on moving forward. All right. So let's go ahead and see what it is, y'all. I feel like some of you guys are apprehensive about finding out maybe what your blocks are. But hang tight. It's going to be okay. All right. So let's see. What for pile 2? What is the block self-sabotage situation happening here with pile 2? Self-sabotage block situation. Self-sabotage or block for See, you know, I'm going to tell you, it's okay. You're the only one watching this reading. No one's going to see this. You don't want to share because the cards aren't coming out like they usually do. For pile 1, they came out really fast. So let's see what these blocks are. Pile 2. Thank you. Let's do 2 more. All right. And 1 more, please, for pile 2. Okay. All right. Thank you for being honest, pile 2. All right. Being too much, quote unquote, too much again. Rejection, overexpression, and shame. All right, that's 1. This was the second one. Putting off feeling again. Delayed grief, resistance, and shutdown. That hurts my heart. All right, and then the last one we have is doing it again. Oops. Compulsion and bad decisions. All right. So all 3 of these cards say again. So I think, you know, the repeating pattern of you feeling that you don't have control of yourself or your actions. The energy that I'm feeling is that the people who are watching this reading might be a younger group, or your age might be, you might be older, but you feel young inside. All right, you're maybe the life of the party. Maybe you're somebody that you have a lot going on in your life. You might be somebody that has ADHD, and that struggles with time, you know, timelines and getting things organized and putting things together. You know, running those errands, cleaning up that area you've been looking at for 3 weeks, putting the laundry away, that kind of thing. Which could perpetuate the issue that you have with doing it again, right? It makes it happen again, the compulsion, right? It puts you in a cycle of being too much, as you say, or as the card says, and delaying the grief, delaying feeling things, delaying the emotions. So, you know, I empathize with you because I have been too much many times. I am kind of like what is it called? An omnivert or whatever, where I like to be in seclusion, but I also can, I'm going to say, perform really well as an extrovert when I'm out with people. But sometimes I do too much. I assume or presume that everybody's on the same page with me about what we're doing tonight. Or like there have been times where I drank too much, or I was the only one that got tipsy because I thought that's what we were all doing. You know, like I just didn't read the room well, which makes for a very embarrassing hangover, by the way, the next day. Or I overshare. Sometimes that is something that, for me, is I would put in the category of being too much. In my journey of trying to be authentic, be my most authentic self, I have found myself oversharing, and then feeling remorse for it and feeling embarrassed about it later. So let's see what else is going on, and let's get into the nitty gritty about the advice about this. So tell us more about these situations and blocks for pile 2, please. Interesting that before I shuffled this deck, I thought about this card. This is a man, so I don't know, YouTube is weird, but it's a man. Those aren't boobies, but I'm going to cover it anyway. All right, this is the Star. This is the Major Arcana card. Tell us more. For pile 2, please. Take these 3 cards out. All right. We have the Ten of Wands, which speaks about feeling burdened, feeling feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you are, you know, walking in mud or going, uh, having like a huge, usually it's depicted like somebody with a big sack of something on their back and they're walking up a hill. But in the distance, you can see where they're headed. And 10 has to do with endings and beginnings. Then we have the Two of Cups. Okay, so love might be something here, and being left out in the cold. The Five of Pentacles. So I feel like you really want to be somebody. You really you know your own potential. So you already know that you can be the life of the party. You know that you have times and the ability to be very expressive or organized about what the things that you need to do. And you know you can have self-control, like the opposites of these things. And that tells me, and I say that because of the star card. The star card is all about wish fulfillment. It's about sometimes being daydreamy, believing in yourself, having that fearless belief that you can do anything. Um, Even when it's not very clear. A lot of times, or this card is depicted at night, right? And you've got pearls here that represent the stars. And this bird, this is a white peacock in the back. So you see yourself as a unique, strong, charismatic, dynamic person. And these three things cause embarrassment for you. Not having the self-control and feeling like you're too much. And I think that it causes some pain for you. You feel like you can't move past it, like it keeps following you around. And I think part of moving forward or moving away from this being a stumbling block for you, I think I mentioned it in group pile 1 as well, is taking baby steps. And then, but before you take any baby steps, I think the question that you need to ask yourself is, why do you feel like you're going to be rejected? Who made you feel like your shortcomings are make you not worthy for attention and for love, or for feeling like, let's say, for feeling putting off feelings and emotions? Who made you feel like you were going to be a burden if you did that? Who made you feel like when you were being very animated at a party or with family, who made you feel like you were being too much in the first place? Ask yourself those questions. Another question, like doing it again, making bad decisions. Ask yourself, are the decisions bad? Or were they just decisions that people in your life felt weren't good decisions, right? Maybe they were just different than what everybody else did. Doesn't necessarily mean that those were bad decisions, right? So starting there, I think, is very important, because when you sit and reflect and ask yourself pointed questions about that, you're going to be answering yourself and realizing that you don't have to feel bad about oversharing or being animated or being rejected. Like, okay, so I work in the medical field and I work with many doctors, and if you know, you know. But a lot of them come from different places and have different temperaments, different personalities. And I'm loud. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm spicy. I have a colorful black background, and there are times that I've overshared or I used a cuss word and was looked at like, oh, almost with like, either they didn't understand my joke or felt that it was, off-putting. And at first there are times I've cried in the bathroom because I felt like I embarrassed myself or I did something that was stupid. And then I had to ask myself, well, okay, Salima, if you're going to be who you are, you're going to be authentic and be who you are. That also means that it's the quirky part and the corny parts about you that make you who you are too. That you need to love that part of yourself, that inner child part of yourself. if somebody doesn't get the joke, they don't get the joke, and that's okay. They might go home feeling silly that they didn't get the joke. And here you are beating yourself up. Uh, I think realizing that we have a lot to offer in many different social situations, and we have these beautiful parts of ourselves that are like a mosaic of things that we can share with other people that help us engage and interact with people. And sometimes something that you see in yourself, for some reason, you've created this agreement in your mind. Oh, that's another great book that you should read, or another. I didn't even mention a first book, but you should read that book. It's called The Four Agreements. And the cover has like a tree, I think, in front of it with like four windows or something like that. But anyways, basically it talks about in the Aztec Mexican culture, um, the basically it kind of talks about the agreements that we have in our mind are like can be like spells that we cast with ourselves, and chains that we create for ourselves, where we decide for ourselves that we are embarrassing or that we don't have control. We decide because of experiences that we've had. Oh, I can't ever be on time because look at all of the proof I have that I have not been on time. That narrative is something that you've agreed to and that you have decided that you're not going to fight on it anymore. You're not going to try to change it. And it keeps you stuck in like this hamster wheel of a cycle that you cannot break out of because for some reason you believe that, for example, if you share your feelings, you might overexpress and embarrass yourself. One is proof that the other one is true in your own mind. And everything gets convoluted and you can't, it almost, it inhibits you from being your most authentic self. It stops you. And you end up being this tight ball of worry, of failing again. And we are all balls of failure. All of us humans are, like I have this friend of mine that I love so much. And, she always says, like, no, what you need to do is you need to fail, and you need to fail a lot, and you need to fail early on and often, because that is how you learn who you are, like your true grit, your limits, and also by doing those, not just failing at things that you expect to fail at, but do things that are outside of your comfort zone. It's going to teach you so much about who you are and create a new perspective on who you are as the complicated human that you are. And I think that, doing that can help you break out of this hamster wheel of, don't do this, don't overshare. You're doing that again. You're resisting your emotions and then recycling it again and again and again. So, for example, to put it in a concrete term, let's say you put your emotions off, right? You had a friend that came up to you and said, "Hey, fulano de tal, ¿cómo estás? How are you doing? How are you feeling today?" And let's say they know that you had a breakup, right? And you're like, "Oh, I'm doing good, man. I just got these clothes and I'm feeling so good about myself now," and blah, blah, blah. And so after that interaction, you're going to be thinking, "Oh, fucking did it again. Fucking fake. I really don't feel that way. I don't know why I fucking did that." Why? Maybe because you're afraid of rejection. All right, so let's like redo this situation. Your friend comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, yeah, fulano de tal, ¿cómo estás? How are you doing?" And you say, "You know what, man? I've seen better days, yo. I miss my girl, or I miss my person, or I'm so fucked up over losing my job, or man, I'm fighting with my mom. It's got me all up in my head, or whatever." There might be a lot of men watching this because I'm totally using phrases that men would use probably more than women, but I say all that to be like, that is a good practical way that you can be authentic and you stop the cycle of the hamster wheel of not being in your emotions. And then you're going to walk away feeling victorious, walk away from that conversation. Because if this is your true friend that's coming up to you, a good friend that you trust, that talks to you all the time, that always supports you, they're going to support you. They're going to be like, "Oh man, I, that sucks, man. I'm so sorry about that. You want to go let's go grab a beer. Let's get your mind off it," or whatever. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to say, "Oh, you share too much." And if they do that, they're not really your friend. I'm going to tell you that. And that's also going back to failing and then learning. That's another way of how you find out who your true friends are. Your true friends are not going to judge you for sharing too much or being, uh, the life of the party or an extrovert when they're not being extroverted, uh, singling you out. They're going to accept you for who you are. Oh, Fulano, he's always like that. Whatever. There he goes again, sharing too much, blah, 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 and then teasing you but making you feel like that you're accepted for it. It's who you are. It's what makes you great. It's one of the things that make you great. When you have, and so keep in mind with the practical, advice, it's also take a survey of who is in your life. Take a survey of who's making you feel these things. And those people should not be a part of your tribe. Those people don't need to be in, so close to you and know what's happening in your day-to-day life. They can be scooted down the line. All right. I always look at like relationships like you have your first circle, right? You have your first circle of friends. These are the ones that you share your emotions with. These are the ones that are not going to judge you because, you're kind of hyper and oversharing at a party, or they're not going to judge you when you failed because you tried to share your emotions and you did it again. They're going to be your support. Then you have, the second row of people that might hear about bad news, might hear about that breakup and check in on you, but you're not going to share all those details with them, but you appreciate them being in your life. And then the biggest circle, these are the ones, the coworkers. These are the people that aren't your friends. All these people. Now, sometimes family members need to be pushed out here. People who have put you down and judged you for who you are, sometimes they don't deserve to be in this circle. They need to be maybe even pushed out to the second line, right? Until they prove themselves, and then maybe they can come back. And as you grow and mature in your life, that changes. These can interchange. As you, like when people tend to get married and have kids, suddenly this close group of friends that were all single, they might be venturing out this way because you can't relate to them anymore, and you got to invite some other people into your circle. But the most important part about this circle is that you're going to have people who accept you for who you are, and then also are honest and truthful about the advice that you do need, and they're kind about it. They're supportive about it. They're not judgmental. That's who's supposed to have the privilege of being in your tight little circle. Okay? All right, enough of that. Let's talk about let's get more encouragement and advice from the universe for pile 2. Encouragement and advice for pile 2, please, from the universe. Encouragement and advice for pile 2 from the universe, please, Spirit. All right. Let me see, what is this? Oh, 2 of Wands, okay. Ooh, 6 of Wands, nice. That's about being victorious. Ooh, the King of Wands, all that passion. Okay, I like that. All right, any other encouragement that you have for pile 2, please? The Knight of Coins, interesting. Okay, so basically the universe is telling you, listen, start putting into place the plan, all right? Plans are good. Not the ones that cause anxiety, the ones that are like daydreamy plans. Plans like if I had to pick, if I had to pick 4 people that are going to be in my circle, who would those people be? Who could I talk to that I know for sure is not going to make me feel like shit about something? Okay. Take note of those people and bring them into being in your circle. So that means, maintaining that relationship with them, and practicing. Even if you have relationships where they know this about you and they accept you, and it's that second line of friends that judge you, that you get angry about. Tell your circle, the closest circle, like, hey, I'm going to work on this. I don't like these things about myself, and I'm going to work on it. So next time you ask me something about how I'm feeling, maybe give me a chance to talk about how I'm feeling. Let's not joke around right away, but let's see if I can share something. Or, I got this appointment and I'm always late for this yearly appointment, and I really don't want to do that this time. Can you help me? Okay? So it's putting a plan into place and daydreaming about the success of those plans. Like not just putting plans in place with the expectation and the agreement in your mind that you're going to fail. It's putting the plans into place that you are going to succeed. That there's no reason why you cannot succeed. Okay? And this is about success. The Six of Wands is all about. Wait, is this the Six of Wands? Yes. All right. Yeah, it's the Six of Wands. So the Six of Wands is about, like usually it is depicted with a rider, but they're going through, like, after the battle, they come back and people are throwing flowers at the feet of the horse, and it's usually that kind of scene. But, I love how this person he's got this kind of like a wreath of leaves above him, almost like he doesn't need people around him to love himself or to feel that he's going to be successful. He doesn't need the external confirmation. Like, he doesn't need for people to say, like, he wouldn't be somebody that cares about whether he's being too much or not. He's going to be somebody that's like, you know, it is what it is. I decided, I'm going to share. I wanted to share this about my life, and it's a very hard story, but I think it's important because of, and then, not feeling guilty about that. Your confidence is going to grow. And the fact that you care so much about how you're looking to people, how people are going to accept your feelings when you do share them, or how people are going to, if they're going to judge you for being flaky, or your efforts of trying not to be flaky and then failing. This person here, this is confidence. This is like, I am who I am and I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress, but I'm an amazing person and I am a work in progress. You're not going to come right out the gate the star, right? You're going to come out with being more patient and understanding with yourself, more kind to yourself. And through that kindness and being your authentic self, the universe is saying you're just going to get better and better and better. And your confidence is going to be oozing out of your skin with the King of Wands energy. Look at that. You think this King of Wands cares about what somebody thinks about his feelings? I mean, he competes against himself. Like he does. He's not going to, like if he's being late all the time, he's going to be like, I can't be late. But it's not because he cares about what other people think. It's because he wants to do better, to be better for himself, competing against himself, not paying attention to what other people say. If he shows up late to a party and then starts sharing about, yeah, I got in a fight with my mom because of X, Y, and Z and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, ooh, I didn't want to know about that. That says more about the people that he's around and not so much about him. It says more about the other people not being able to handle emotions or tough stories. And when you change your perspective on it and change the agreement that you have with yourself about these situations, it's going to bust open the door for you. And then the last card here is the Knight of Coins. So now a knight is different energy than wands. So the coins, the pentacles, I'm sorry, let me say that again. Okay, first of all, the knight is younger energy than the king, okay? Wands are about passion, confidence, all of that. Pentacles are about having more grounded energy. So more grounded, more practical, more along the lines of getting that hardcore, ride or die group of friends. Okay, that taking action and doing that is a grounded activity, right? Being on time, but being practical about it. I'm going to set 4 alarms and not be embarrassed about the fact I need 4 alarms in order to get out of the house on time. Okay. But the Knight of Coins in particular is a very slow night, and it's a night that is trustworthy. And so the universe is saying that the more that once you get into this energy, start putting things into place with the planning and make it more grounded. Like, one analogy I heard about this card is like, if you had a farm and you needed to leave out of town, and you needed to ask someone to please watch your farm, make sure that the harvest is or I should say the fields are watered and the animals are taken care of. The Knight of Coins is that's the person you want, because they're going to be consistent and trustworthy. They're going to take their time. They're going to take care of that property like it was their property. And you're going to start seeing this character trait in you as you move forward in breaking out of this cycle. Okay? Let's see. What comes after? Ooh, look at that. Oh, no, it's a group of them. Okay. What comes after the Knight of Coins for pile 2? What comes after the Knight of Coins for pile 2 in this advice? What comes after the Ace of Wands? So the Ace of Wands, like, aces for me are like the number one, like they trump everything in the suit. For example, like when you think of poker or whatever, like the aces can be either a 1 or an 11. They kind of feel like an 11 to me, or a 1, right? So basically it's kind of the epiphany or inspiration of passion. So through getting grounded and coming back to your inner child and really, really coming into your confidence, it is going to open the door for everything in your life, because you're going to finally feel free to be as passionate, and the zeal for life is going to come back into your life, and you're not going to be bogged down with worry anymore, because other people's opinions are not going to matter. The only opinion that's going to matter about your life and your character is your own opinion. So when you need to come back around, which you will, because we all do, to do more healing, and working on more blocks that you have, you're going to have the confidence and you're going to have the inspiration to do so because of this experience. After being able to overcome these things, or at least having compassion for yourself about these things and not caring about what other people say, after being through that, you're going to be able to move forward and do it with other things in your life. And it's just going to open up the doors for you. Big time. So let's get a self-love oracle, okay, for you. All right. Shuffle these here. Okay. Let's self-love oracle for pile 2. What do they need to hear? Self-love oracle for pile 2. I love it. It's so like synchronistic. Like, the universe is in these readings, I'm telling you. So your ritual for self-love is grounding, and this has to do with the crown chakra. So if you're not familiar with chakras, the most popular chakras, I believe, are 7 that go down the line of our body, and the crown chakra is above our head. All right. And the crown chakra has a lot to do with perceptions and our thoughts, anxieties, fears. And when it's imbalanced, that's the energy that you're in. When you are balanced, you're more actually of this Knight of Pentacles, King of Wands energy, where you're confident and secure, and you let go of outcomes. You're not attached to outcomes. The outcomes don't mean anything to you, of whatever circumstance or situation, like how people perceive you. That's one outcome, right? All right, so number 28. Let me read this for you. Okay. All right, so you're rich. Okay, so number 28, my whole life is a practice of being here and now. So choose to do one or more of the activities listed below. Number 1, look for rainbows, especially double rainbows, which are becoming more frequent. Take photos of beautiful places, of nature, and look for the orbs and rays of the colored light in the images. Sit under a tree and daydream. Just quote unquote be in nature. Count butterflies. Collect the dew from flowers. Lie on the carpet of the green grass and just listen. Walk in nature. Smell the flowers. Touch their petals. And touch the petals so gently that they don't leave a mark. Say I love you and say thank you. There's a bunch of them here. Go surfing. Watch the water from the shore. Plant seasonal food and harvest. Make or lovingly repair some of your clothes. Write about things that warm your heart or make you smile. Breathe more deeply and sing the song of your heart and love your soul. So basically, here's another one. Ask a question of a mountain, an ocean, a lake, a river, a tree, or any natural landmark you are drawn to, and just sit still, just listening for the answers that come to you. So these are all activities that help you ground yourself, to get yourself out of the worry, out of your head, out of the anxiety, and remember that you're a human being and you deserve love. You deserve patience and compassion for yourself. And through grounding is how we can do that. For me, I like looking at the night sky and I like looking at all the stars because it reminds me how small I am, how vast the universe is, that I'm just one little person on this one planet of this huge galaxy, of many galaxies that we have. So doing that is going to help pull your head out of the sand, so to speak, so that you can really move forward in this journey of letting go of this self-sabotage block that you have, this cycle that you have going on. All right, Pile 2, that's your reading. I really wish you the best, and I hope that this is helpful. And I'm going to put my email in the description box. If you're interested in any personal readings, I am open for that. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, because it just helps my channel grow, and my channel's tiny and I've had it for a while. But anyway, until next time, I really wish you the best. Bye. All right, Pile 3, we're here. All right, you chose the Golden Masquerade Tarot. I love this deck, actually. It's a great deck. It's beautiful. It was not that expensive. And the art is beautiful and pretty. And if you know tarot, as you get to know tarot, the images are pretty similar to the Rider Waite tarot. So, which is the typical kind of tarot. Excuse me, typical tarot cards that you see. All right. What blocks do we have going on? All right, so I'm shuffling this. All right, that's ready to go. I shuffled these, but let's do one more shuffle. I've been taking some of these out. These are going to be how we know what your blocks are, and then we're going to go from there, right? All right, for pile 3. What's pile 3 blocks, please? Blocks are self-sabotage, please. Blocks are self-sabotage. What are the blocks or self-sabotage for pile 3, please? There's 2 in there? Nope, 1. Okay. Aww. All right, you got tears. What tears? Denial, emotional leak, and pretense. Aww. Don't be sad. All right, let's see. Are there any other blocks for pile 3, please? Now, if I shuffle this again here and we get no cards, this is your major, one major block that you have. The other, oh, here we go. Of course there's more than one, right? We all have a lot. All right, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm going to take the top one, and this one flipped. All right. All right. Second one is motivation not found, can't even, overwhelm, shut down, and apathy. Well, that makes sense, given this one. And then the last card we got, oh, it's just 5 years ago. It's just a phase, calling it a phase. So minimization, escapism, and self-deception. Ooh, pile 3. Oh, my little pile 3. Okay, what are we going to say? What are we going to do? What does the universe want to say about this? All right. So off the bat, I feel like this is perpetuating these things. Okay. You might be a water sign. I think that you're somebody that is a passionate person. You have a lot of feelings about a lot of things. I've had friends like that where, you know, something goes on in the world and they're crying, or they read a story about an endangered species and they're upset about it, or or you know, they have a lot of challenges. Let's say they're in school and they're just crying a lot because everything is just so difficult. So regulating emotions is something that is a challenge for you. And when you're not regulating your emotions, we have unhealthy ways of trying to stop emotions from showing. And I think one of those is when feeling, you know, so the emotions can lead you to feeling overwhelmed and cause the apathy and the shutdown, which I have been there. I have been there. I have been there. I have been there. And it is a tough place to be because you already know you've got, for me, it was like I got a checkerboard of things going on in my heart where part of me is super, super emotional. And, you know, it's like a dam and I'm putting Band-Aids on the leaks with apathy. So I can be, you know, really apathetic about something I should be not really apathetic about. I should be more giving and more kind. And I find myself being more grumpy and snappy. And not having empathy because I have a lot of other emotions that I'm trying to hide or dampen. And then that would lead to the minimalization and escaping, right? Let's just scroll. Let's just scroll on Instagram, or let's just watch movies for, you know, watch all of the Lord of the Rings in one sitting with The Hobbit. You know, let's get Uber and just stay in bed all day. Uber Eats and just stay in bed all day. You know, they kind of, for all 3 of the piles, actually, the 3 cards have all been very cyclic in how one will then cause the other to then cause the other. And minimizing and self-deception, I mean, that's pretty deep, because when you're deceiving yourself, you're lying to yourself, you're really, really stunting your emotional growth, which just perpetuates this inability to control your emotions because you haven't analyzed them and taken time to pick them apart to see why these feelings are so big about these certain subjects. So let's see what tarot says. Let's see what the universe has to say about this. What do you want to say about these blocks for pile 3, please? For pile 3. I got them all out at once. Ooh, we got a lot of cards. We're going to take them. All right. We have the Empress. There's more feminine energy here, I think. The Nine of Pentacles. This is a card about wanting to be self-sufficient and independent, not need anything from anyone. The Lovers. So it's a card about companionship. It can be about a love situation. It can be about feeling that in the subject of love, these situations show themselves the most. Your block is shown the most when it's about a loving relationship. Seven of Cups is about mystery, fantasy, inability to make decisions. And then the Ace of Cups, offer of love. So maybe love is confusing for you. So love is kind of where these things hold more true for you. So I'm wondering with the tears, what tears? I wonder if abandonment is something that kind of can plague your relationships. Either you have emotional, or I should say anxious attachment, where you are afraid that the person's going to leave you all the time. You desire to be this Empress, more independent, more not needing the emotional reassurance, not needing so much from someone. And you feel like you do put a lot on other people. So you could have this hot and cold energy in romance where you can love bomb, but then also ghost. And then when the person that you're dating brings it up, you say it's not that big of a deal. You're overreacting. That's that self-deception. You're deceiving the people that love you also. So love causes some confusion for you. So you want romance, you want to be independent, you don't want to have this you feel like you're emotional burden to people. You want to have this independence. Okay, so let's talk more about it then. Tell me more, Spirit. These cards are driving me nuts. It seemed like a good idea to have them up there so you can see them, but I don't know. All right. Tell us more. You're getting them all out at once. It's so funny. The way sometimes the cards behave according to like the energy. So like for pile 2, the cards were not wanting to come out. Because pile 2, I guess people that are going to be watching that tend to like want to hold back emotion. And then here we get tears, what tears? And we're getting chunks of cards that are coming out. It's interesting. So we have the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Wands under the Nine of Pentacles. That's interesting. The Three of Pentacles under the Lovers, and then the Moon. Oh my God, matching energy. All right, what about this last card then, Spirit? Last card, please. Last card. Is there a last card? Yeah, there we go. Aw. All right, the Eight of Swords. I wish you could see this better. I got to rearrange my table. All right, so let's talk about it. So under the Empress, we got the Ace of Swords. And for me, the aces in tarot are like epiphanies of whatever the suit is. So like when we talk about the Ace of Swords, it is epiphany, but it's about realization and about thought, about a new understanding or a new level of grace and intelligence. And that's really, the Empress, she is a combination of all four queens. She is divine and smart and beautiful and sexy and powerful. She is secure. She does not need anything from anyone. She can create on her own, and really does embody a lot of the qualities that a lot of women strive for, okay, or people in general strive for. And it's feminine energy as well. So I think, perhaps you're ready, and if you're watching this tarot reading, you are ready to be inspired, to be inspired to overcome this. Like, you're tired of this. And I relate to this in a big way, because early in my 20s, I would say in my 20s and my early to mid 30s, I had this stage in my life where I just was very confused about relationships. I was very confused about how they went, because I didn't have very good examples of healthy relationships in my upbringing, and I wasn't a very good reader either on people, on at the time, the boys' intentions with me or men's intentions with me. And I found myself in limerence a lot, where you fell in love with people that, because you fell in love with them, because you think they're amazing, and they have no emotional feelings for you, really. And you're just kind of like in a situationship by yourself. or, or I found myself hot and cold, right? Or being completely shut off and cold towards relationships, angry and resentful, and not being able to regulate that cycle at all, and having a hard time. And I would mask a lot, and pretend that everything was fine, or that I was like other people. And, the universe put me in, it wasn't until much later, actually in my 40s, probably not even in my 40s, probably late 40s, when I really, started my journey of self-healing and learned tarot, that I discovered where my strength was, where I got my inspiration, that epiphany. And it was through a very challenging connection that I had found myself in, where it was one-sided, and I had, my attachment style is definitely anxious. I didn't want to be abandoned. I didn't, but then I found myself in a connection where I was constantly being abandoned. And, I really believe that the universe keeps putting you in a situation until you learn the lesson. And then you're able to graduate from the lesson, right? Sometimes that's frustrating, because you feel like, I already been here. I don't like this. This hurts. I've done this. This is the 6th time I've done it. I'm done. I already know the lesson, but you still end up putting yourself there again, and haven't really learned the core thing, the core idea or lesson. And so for me, loving myself was a big priority. And when you're in a situation where you're being affected by your environment, you're not looking at yourself in a loving way. You're either criticizing yourself, or assuming the worst about yourself, or assuming that others look at you in most worst way. So I think the first advice is looking inside yourself in order to find that love for yourself, that the inspiration lies inside you first and foremost. And that deceptions bleed in, like the self-deception bleeds into the tears. Like, you can believe that you're not lovable, or believe that you're not something that somebody would absolutely fall in love with for the rest of their life, or that many people would fall in love with you, for that matter. But, until you start really looking at yourself, and nobody wants to hear that shit, because trying to figure out how to love yourself is not easy to do. And I know for myself, when I've listened to tarot readers say that, I'm like, oh, fuck off. I've fucking tried to love myself. I do. But usually I'm lying to myself again. I'm not really loving myself. Like, I'm not really doing introspective work and looking at myself and picking apart, okay, take one trigger, like, to be practical about it, one trigger that brings this emotional outburst, and pick that fucker apart, you know, on your own. Like, write in a journal, ask yourself questions. Why do I feel this way? And listen to what answer that your mind gives you. That's the universe talking to you, or God, or whoever your higher power's name is. Okay? That's going to be the beginning of you breaking away to be able to have this self-love that the Nine of Pentacles really suggesting. Okay? And the Nine of Wands here is interesting because it's the wounded warrior, right? And it's 2 nines, and 9 would be a number, I think, would be a good number for you to look up as an angel number and see if that's something, has a message there for you. Just look at Google search it. But yeah, the Nine of Wands is a wounded warrior, ready, had been through battle. Like, if you can see here, there's a crack in this mask. So he's been through his battles here, but ready for war. He's not given up yet. And maybe that's what you're at, that point, right, where you've realized, you've had the epiphany that, you need to start loving yourself more, learning yourself more, and being more compassionate with yourself. And you have the strength. And maybe you feel like you don't. And the universe is saying, you got it in you. You've got it in you. You can do this. And when it comes to the lovers, you've got the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is about creation. It's about showing off your creation, talking about, like, so in a practical way, instead of focusing on a love, maybe focus more on a project that you can work on with other people, or a new hobby, or working on something that is going to be fulfilling for you, where you can have that, like, I'm thinking of crocheting, for example. Like, I know how to crochet, and I at times have picked it up and then put it down for months and months and then pick it up again. But one thing that I do appreciate when I am crocheting is that my mind is running while my fingers are running, right? My fingers. And I'm able to almost have this really peaceful self-reflection about myself or about a situation that is not as emotional, that is not triggered, because I'm busy doing something. My mind is distracted by crocheting. And I'm able to almost ask myself questions and answer as if it were somebody else's circumstance. So let's say, there's something, you get triggered because there's someone you have a crush on. And let's say it's a connection you have. Let's say they love you too and you guys are in a connection, but sometimes when they do a certain thing, like they don't text you to say good morning, you find yourself being upset all day. All right, well, you got to ask yourself why you feel upset about something like that. Why aren't you, what message is it sending you? What are you afraid of? Usually it has to do with a fear or pain there. And when you start picking it apart in an intellectual way, then you can start seeing that this reaction isn't needed, because whatever truth or lie, most likely lie, whatever self-deception you have surrounding that text message in the morning is going to kind of evaporate, really. The angst and the anxiety around it and fear, you're going to be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't. This person didn't cause that pain that happened a long time ago. That makes me feel like I need to get that message in the morning. And then you can put it away. But maybe having someone to do that work with, maybe going to therapy, or having a hobby where your mind is busy, but your hands are busy and your mind is not tied up in the emotions about the subject, but you're able to kind of break it down so that you can get that clear view that's not obstructed with the emotional reaction, in order to see things clearer. And then with the Seven of Cups, I said it was about fantasy and stuff. And the moon is about self-reflection, but it's about, moonlight in general is not bright like the sun. I mean, you can kind of see, but you kind of can't see, or things don't seem as they really truly appear. And it's more about what I'm talking about, that self-reflection. And the confusion is about the self-reflection. You're not being honest with yourself about why these triggers are happening and what the triggers are. And denying them is keeping you in this kind of limbo of just not being stable. Just, you know, like sometimes I still get caught up in this cycle, and I find myself getting upset about something somebody did or whatever. One thing that has helped me is I ask myself, how would I respond if someone I loved had this same, beef, right? The same issue. Well, I would tell them, well, don't take it personal. This has nothing to do with you. That was a big one for me that I'm still learning. Most of the time when people do things, it's about them. It's not about you. If your person's not sending that text, 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with you. It's not a reaction or an answer to say that the person doesn't love you like they used to. It means that something got in the way and something's happening with that person. It has nothing to do with you. That's a really big one that will really help you if you start really just saying it. It's not, why am I taking this so personal? And then breaking that down. And I think through offering your cup of love back to yourself with the Ace of Cups, you're going to be able to really break away from the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is about just feeling like this. It reminds me of the self-deception, the trapping yourself, but usually it's, there's a circle of swords around the person and they're able to get up and walk away, but they feel trapped. They feel trapped. So it's a trapping of the thoughts in your mind that keep you feeling helpless. And you're not helpless. Not at all. Offering yourself the Ace of Cups, the love that you deserve, the kindness, the compassion, the grace, that you need to give it to yourself. And remove yourself. It's not about you. This person, when things go wrong in love, it's not because of, it doesn't dictate your value. It doesn't dictate your worth if something doesn't work out in a relationship. It is much more intellectual than that. But because of how we've been raised or past hurts, we take things so personally. We take rejection so personally that it shapes the way we go about all of our relationships sometimes if we don't take a look at it. Like when you have those friends that complain about their boyfriends and break up with their boyfriends or girlfriends or people, their persons, and then end up getting in a relationship with someone who does the same shit. And you're like, great, they didn't learn their lesson, now they're back. A lot of that has to do with not doing the self-analyzing, not doing the self-love that they probably should have done during the breakup, to then come back as a new person, more well-rounded, right? All right, so let's see what advice we have for you. What advice does the universe have for Pile? This is from the self-love oracle. It has practical little activities or advice that can help you through this, okay? All right. For Pile 3, what is their self-love oracle? What do they need to hear? What do they need to do for self-love? All right. Wow. Okay, here we go. This is interesting because we have the Empress here, right? You've got your soul lesson is nobility. And it's the aura chakra. So your aura, working on your aura, your energy. That embodies all the chakras. Well, all the ones down the middle, which are, I think there's 7 of them. So your crown, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, and your sacral chakra. Aligning all of that. And all of those include like the mind, the body, the spirit, and your passion, your sexuality, all of that. So let's see. And it makes me think of like when I said that all four queens are included in the Empress. And the soul lesson is nobility. It's about you learning to love yourself and to see your worth. That you are worth, you're priceless, basically, right? Like it is. Okay, number 29. Okay, let's just get to it here. Hold on. All right, here we go. Soul lesson. Nobility. Protect pure love and hope. This card comes to guide you to command your field, clear your aura, and surround yourself with resounding love. What did I tell you? Loving yourself. All right. When your aura is clear of subconscious garbage and filled with the highest virtues, you attract positivity, charged energy. Your aura is home. You live in it your whole life, and those who come close to you also share the space. Your aura provides protection against disease and negative environmental influences while also protecting your intentions into this world. A powerful eighth chakra is noble, like gold, automatically deflecting and filtering negative influences and radiating magnetic vibrancy. Your aura can keep clean and no, can be kept clean and enriching, comforting, nurturing, powerful, and inspiring. Just like the Empress. Remember when I was describing her? You can rewind it and listen. Okay. Those in your company will feel these positive energies coming from you. And the auras can become weak if we behave in a diminished way, and we also become vulnerable to viruses and negativity and aggressive attitudes of others. Your opportunity when working with the aura is to ensure that you maintain a noble attitude, even when under extreme pressure. Now, I'm going to tell you that this is this writer's way of describing this, but this seems like you being hard on yourself. I think, being hard on yourself when you're competing against yourself is worth that effort, right? But being hard on yourself because of what somebody else thinks of you is not healthy. That's not healthy. If somebody's telling you, stop being so emotional, and then you're hard on yourself and denying your emotions, that is unhealthy. But the opposite, or the healthy version of that, would be, God, I got really emotional there. I kind of had an outburst. I should apologize to that person, and I want to maybe write in my journal and see why did I get so emotional? And then you being competitive with yourself in the sense that you're like, I really don't want to do that again. And let me figure out how, or first of all, why it happened and how to change that. When you behave in a noble manner and you radiate your best qualities, you will feel happy within yourself. And what you project will also benefit others. You have been stirred to raise this awareness into your heart and into your inner truth. It's becoming harder to ignore. So the inspiration, like I said, that you already kind of realized this about yourself. You can't ignore this anymore. And this is going to be something that was going to cycle up, right? Every single time. If you don't do the work to get this out of your way, it is always going to get in the way. So the last thing it says here, says, in your heart, you came here with a unique purpose, a wonderful contribution to the co-creation of this guided era. This golden era. The suggested practice is sing your heart's song. Sing loud and sing proud. Stand with your feet firmly, even to the ground, and sweep your arms up and down by your sides through your aura, breathing deeply and smiling, and say, I am the light of my soul. Now, that sounds silly to do, but it could be anything. You could sing, you could dance while you're cleaning the house. You can, remember reflect and remember the things that you love about yourself, the things that people have complimented you on about who you are as a person, and love yourself. And through that love, you're going to have more compassion and more kindness and more patience with yourself. And, having that eyes wide open type of conversations with yourself about why the tears are starting, because these are all, then you're not going to be, the overwhelm is going to decrease. The shutdown's not going to be there anymore. The apathy is going to be going away. You're not going to be lying to yourself. So truth is going to be the way. I mean, it really sounds cliche, but the truth does set you free. Being honest with yourself really is how we can move past these blocks that just hinder us in the worst way. And life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is meant to be happy. We are meant to be happy in this life. So just keep that in mind as well. All right. So I wish you the best, Pile 3. Thank you so much for coming by. And I really hope that this was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I am open for personal readings. So email me and let me know if you're interested or you know someone that is. And I will see you next time. I wish you the best. Bye.